Let's all come together and sing this song. When we are united and standing strong, there is nowhere than the heart we share with one another, no other there. We are one people, breathing one air, one human family that we all share. We are one spirit and we come from one mind, one heart beating one life. One heart beating one life. One heart beating. See our brothers and sisters in everyone. No one's outside the circle, no us and them. Embrace our differences, see what we can learn from one another. With love we affirm. We are one people, breathing one air, one human family that we all share. We are one spirit and we come from one mind, one heart beating one life. One heart beating one life. One heart beating. We are one people, breathing one air, one human family that we all share. We are one spirit and we come from one mind, one heart beating one life. One heart beating one life. One heart beating one life. Oh, one heart beating one life. Good morning, CSL-LA. I'm Jamie Lula. Grateful to be here with you this morning.
And good morning to you, Reverend Dr. Jamie Lula.
Thank you kindly, sir.
How are you today?
I'm well. I'm well. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It is, and I believe you're joining us today from the land of Los Angeles, correct?
I am from the land of Lake Balboa in the San Fernando Valley with a beautiful 77 degrees today.
You know, Lake Balboa, I was over there recently for another training session with my dog, and he takes her there, and that's where we go. Lake Balboa is just so lovely.
It is.
It's just lovely, lovely, lovely. It's this little oasis in the middle of the city, and I'm sure it's a treasure until it goes underwater when there's monsoon rains. But it doesn't really go underwater, right?
No, it doesn't. It's a lovely community. It's like there's plenty of walking paths and the golf courses we were over the hill yesterday. Susie had to pick something up and she said, don't I'm so glad that we're living where we are because we've got grass, we've got trees, and everything else felt like a concrete jungle to her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the thing I loved about it when I was there the other day is it's nature, so much of nature. There's
Yeah.
ducks and geese and swans and
Yeah.
people and fishing and people were kind and lovely and interactive and families and it reflected the song that you just sang. One heart, one people, one life. So
Amen.
glad you're here today. Thank you for being here. We're gonna have a good day together.
Yes, sir. Indeed.
We'll see you in just a bit. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and I welcome you into our virtual space as we come together for our Sunday celebration service. If you're joining us live, it is Sunday. Excuse me, my peppermint tea is doing something to me. It's Sunday, January 28th in the year 2024. I started to say 2023, but it is actually 2024 if you live life based on the Gregorian calendar, as so many of us do. So welcome. Welcome into our space, and I honor you for where you're at today, and know that this time that we spend together is one that ignites and reignites within us remembrance of what the song Jamie just sang about is that there's one heart, one people. Obviously, that's a license. We have more than one heart individually, but it's a metaphor for the interconnectedness that we all share as expressions of life. Life meaning the divine, meaning the thing itself, this power and presence that not only permeates all of us through its expression of its infinity, but it is the very pulsation of its thing itself that gives us permission, if you will, gives us opportunity, gives us itself. That's what it gives us, itself. So welcome. Welcome. Glad you're here. I invite you to sit back and enjoy and yet stay alert and perceive and receive. And I just want to turn to this separate camera. I just noticed the gray streak getting even deeper in my hair. Anyway, we're going to have fun today. It's going to be light and hearty and serious and reflective and all of those things. And I'm glad you're here, whether you're joining us through YouTube and or through Zoom or at a later date watching us. I'm going to put our welcome slides up right now as we move into our morning service. We are a community known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Our vision statement is supporting individuals finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. That is our objective today, for you to remember that you indeed are a gift to the world. To everyone whose lives you touch, your soul is eternally blessed with love and light, qualities of the divine that we honor and believe in here. And today we invite you to know the truth of your being and to know that you'll always be the gift that keeps on giving. Good morning and hello. Today we come together to say hello to each other and to express love, not just in that human emotion, but to honor love as a quality of the divine that exists within all of us. The great Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder and first teacher, I would say, of the teachings of the science of mind, defines love as the self-givingness of spirit, whose desire is to create more of itself out of itself. And we like to add that, and it does that through you and through me. And so today we move into letting it be more of what it is. As a community, both in person and virtually, and well over the 30 plus years that we've come together, we welcome all races and all ethnicities, all countries of origin, all gender identities, all sexual orientations, all abilities and disabilities, all spoken languages, all ages, everyone. We welcome and honor you just as you are, honoring your uniqueness and that which makes you an individual. This week I was part of a group that was asking about one's favorite quote in New Thought. And I keep going back to the one that used to be on the handout each Sunday morning at the Los Angeles Church of Religious Science, now as we're known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, which is this: Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. A great Ernest Holmes quote. I'm going to repeat it for you. Let's hear it through our heart, our one heart. Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. As a community, we welcome you, one and all, and love having us all come together to celebrate and acknowledge the power and the presence of the divine that exists by means of each one of us. We like to open our service each and every Sunday morning, honoring and acknowledging that which we teach. We teach primarily the science of mind. The science of mind, as I spoke of earlier with Dr. Ernest Holmes, if you could bring it down to a concise statement, it would believe that there's oneness. Oneness of life, oneness of mind, oneness of itself. But oneness not as a number, but oneness as an expression of wholeness. That you and I individualize this wholeness and we experience and express it through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, and interactions with the very thing itself. We do it in how we choose to use our mind. I point to my head because so often we identify our mind in that location, but in truth, that's our brain. We're really speaking of as mind as the omnipresence of the energy of life itself. And we practice tending to those things because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law. It responds to us by corresponding to that which we place in it, upon it, and as it. So what does all that mean? It means that the more we pay attention to how we show up and express life, how much more we show up and pay attention to ourselves, and the more that we engage in and express love as a divine quality, our life becomes more enriched. Enriched, not necessarily better, that's a judgment. Enriched meaning more reflective of that which it is. So it allows us to circle back to our vision statement. supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. I affirm for each one of us today that this awakening is happening. Let's open to that as we move into our morning ritual called Calling in the Light. And invite us all to take a deep breath in, anchor ourselves into the presence and the awareness of that which is right now. Exhaling, we move into the ritual and look at the orb on the screen and the flickering flame that reflects what we've spoken of so far this morning as the one, of the wholeness of life itself. Calling in the light is a ritual where we perform the ceremony of in-person lighting this candle, virtually looking at it. And we do so to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. I'm going to read that again and ask us all to reflect on where in life we've become more aware of peoples and all faiths and sentient beings, and also as an invitation and an intention that as we navigate life, we become more and more in tune with that. I was thinking of it this morning as I was walking my beloved Sweeney and noticing what was going on in the neighborhood around me, that we're here to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. And the purpose of this ritual in our gathering is to draw into our own awareness, a more conscious awareness of our oneness, wholeness, and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. And so internally, as we feel the vibrations shift, may we each become more aware of the light of life that exists in and as all expressions of life. Not forgetting that it includes you and it includes me. In preparing for today, I've been thinking of this chant, Om Shanti Shanti, Om Shanti. Om Shanti is the chant that aligns itself with the vibration of peace. Peace in mind and soul. Peace in thought and intention. Peace in speech and action. Peace in me and you. Peace in oneness. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. This is reflecting the light, the holy light that expresses as you and as me. Jamie's going to take us through one of his songs, honoring light, and I invite you to take it in and feel the presence of the light as he sings.
Na 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 na. You're not bad. You're not selfish. You're not ugly. You're not broken, damaged, or dysfunctional. You're not the things you tell yourself you are, not the opinions of others or old scars, because you are the light of the world. Yes, you are the light of the world. Oh, make a joyful noise unto the Spirit of your life. Make a joyful noise unto the Spirit of your life. Make a joyful noise unto the Spirit of your life. Make a joyful noise unto the Spirit. Oh, na 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 na. You're not stupid, lazy. You're not fat or too thin. You're not a big mouth, a crybaby. You're not a bully or original sin. Oh, you're not the things you tell yourself you are. Not the opinions of others or old scars. Because you are the light of the world. Oh, yes, you are. You are the light of the world. Come on and make a joyful noise unto the Spirit of your life. Make a joyful noise unto the Spirit of your life. Make a joyful noise unto the Spirit of your life. Make a joyful noise unto your spirit. God's Spirit is your life.
And so it is. The Stay there with me, Jamie. The I love that line, make a joyful noise unto the Spirit. And what it resonates in me as you were singing it, and I've heard that song so many times. I've sung that song along with you. I was just singing it right now. But the words seem to have an even deeper meaning for me right now about not only what you are not, but what you are. And then hearing your new rendition of it, that's really good, it was a new rendition. And knowing how many times you sing it reinforces the conversation that you and Travis and I were having earlier about the energy and the consciousness of music, and yet that as a healing tool. And healing, not just in the sense of physical healing, but revealing the wholeness that we have. We were talking about our beloved Andy Belling and how he's now back at the piano and remembering stuff when there are other challenges. And so I bring that up because I want each of us to tune into the music that you're sharing today through the receptivity of it being healing. I know that's your intention every time you sing a song, for that to be the equivalent of doing a spiritual mind treatment, that it's realigning consciousness in a way that reflects its divinity.
Well, I always go back to the quote uh, that a prayer sung is twice prayed, and it was worded a little bit different, but it's actually attributed to Saint Francis, and it's a little bit different. It's been shifted a little bit. I love that because when we sing, and I sing my prayers a lot. When
Mhm.
we sing, it's like on a molecular level, that vibration that goes through our body. It's so much different than when we're speaking. So
Mhm.
when we sing our affirmations, we sing our prayers, we sing those intentions and whatnot, it shifts
Mhm.
the whole physical presence and spiritual presence.
Well, it's interesting. We know, like, and I think I was speaking of this last week with Amy Steinberg as we were talking about how we know that if you're playing a musical instrument and if you're a part of an orchestra, you need to tune that instrument, right? And that tuning is calibrating a vibration, in essence.
Yeah.
I just kind of made that up, but I'm assuming that's what it's doing.
Hmm.
That's the same thing with the prayer. Like it all has a vibration. Om Shanti
Mm.
is known, the ohm is considered to be the purest vibrational energy there is audibly, right?
Hmm.
And then Shanti brings peace into that. So it just reinforces what we're talking about as we continue this. I think of the trinity of the guitar in your hand, the guitar over your right shoulder, the guitar over your left shoulder, and how many times you've probably played each one of those. And in as much as they look like they're one dimensional, they're multi-dimensional because the vibrations that have played through them and off them, they're alive, even though they look like they're not. So,
I had pneumonia a number of years ago, and I remember coming out of the hospital, and I was in isolation for 7 days, and I remember picking up one of the guitars and
I,
just playing, and it's like feeling the vibration. And my mom had flown into town, and it was like it was so profound. Once again, going back to the oneness, feeling the vibration, raising the vibration, and calling forth that healing from within. Because I was really, I had turned gray. I
yeah.
had really gotten sick, and it's like that vibration. That's
I
why
felt
people, I never hear
before
people
you said
say,
it, I felt it. Hmm.
I never hear people say, in all the years of doing music, I've never heard people say, "Oh, I'm so glad that I stopped playing piano. I'm so glad I stopped playing clarinet or whatever." It's always, "I'm so sorry that I didn't continue to play." And the idea isn't that you need to be a professional musician, but that vibration that you're creating and the joy that it brings into your life. It's like, just continue it, however it is. If it's chopsticks or if it's, a, the Ravel Bolero, it doesn't matter. It's like, play your music, sing
Or
your
the
music,
Charlie Brown song.
play your Charlie Brown song,
Play
Vince
your Charlie Brown
Guaraldi.
song. I love it. So this leads us perfectly into our theme today of how to use it, the science of mind, when we start to cover the fourth of the foundational chapters. But before we do that, I'm going to invite you to play your guitar and play your instrument of vocal talent and share another song with us.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is actually a Floyd Lula song. I had the deep honor of writing with Gary Lynn Floyd, and it's a song called "Reflecting Me." I made mistakes, it's true, the ignorance of youth. I dropped a bomb or two. I drank a bitter brew. I've seen what I've been told, but I'm worth more than gold. This time I break the mold. A flower never fails to make me breathe. A river's always seeking out the sea. A mountain climbs as high as it can be. And everything's always reflecting me. And everything's always reflecting me. I've cheated, lied, and stole, but nothing left me whole. Just a corrupted soul on a downward roll. I've lived unfaithfully. I've wasted most of me. Now I'm surrendering to what I'm here to be. A flower never fails to make me breathe. A river's always seeking out the sea. A mountain climbs as high as it can be. And everything's always erecting me. and everything's always reflecting me. A soul session takes a lifetime to reveal. When I wake up to the obvious, I feel I grew lighter when I let it all go. I am one with all I know. A flower never fails to make me breathe. A river's always seeking out the sea. A mountain climbs as high as it can be, and everything's always reflecting me. Oh, a flower never fails to make me breathe. A river's always seeking out the sea. A mountain climbs as high as it can be, and everything's always reflecting me. And everything's always reflecting me. And everything's always reflecting.
Thank you, thank you. So beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, brother.
Well, that's a perfect segue into our message, which will complete the 4 chapters of the introduction to the science of mind. And I'm going to begin with a quote from Rumi that really is reflective of the lyrics that Jamie was just singing about. It's this: live in the nowhere that you come from, even though you have got an address here. This morning I want to talk about living the science of mind, about how to use it, which is what the chapter is titled. I want to talk about vision and execution. There's a quote that I love that says, "Vision without execution is just hallucination." Now, people attribute that quote from Edison to Einstein, and someone has traced it back to a Japanese proverb. And the proverb states, "Vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare." No matter who said it first, it makes a good point. We need a creative vision to make change in the world, our own world, our expression, experience of the world, but vision alone is not enough. We also need execution to make that change real. You've all heard me use the quote from Ernest Holmes, which I believe I did last week and I do often, which is, "Information without application is hallucination." It's a take on the same quote. Information, having all of this, without application, information, what we've learned in the first 3 chapters, without application is hallucination. Having gone through the first 3 chapters, the thing itself, what it does, how it works, we complete that with how to use it. In the book, The Science of Mind, in this chapter, Holmes writes this, and I'm sure many of us have heard it over the years. I invite you to hear it right now in the consciousness with where you're at in your life, and I mean right now. One of the great difficulties in the new order of thought is that we're likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. As a matter of fact, we only know as much as we can prove by actual demonstration. That which we cannot prove may or may not be true, but that which we can prove certainly must be and is the truth. In reflecting back over this quote and reading it a few times this week leading up to this week, it prompted within me the desire to realize that it's a constant journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, of course, but a constant journey of being open and receptive as to how we practice this teaching, really practice the reality, the spiritual reality of oneness. Holmes goes on to write, of course, the theory of any scientific principle goes beyond its application at any given stage of its accomplishments. If this were not true, there would be no progress in any science. And we all know there's been great progress in the science. The sciences are objectively real to us only insofar as we demonstrate them. But until demonstrated, they're suppositional, so far as practical results are concerned. If there's any field of research where the practical application is necessary, it's the metaphysical field. The reason being that the principle of metaphysics, that which we practice here, seems less tangible to the average person than does the principle of other sciences, probably becoming less so today. As a matter of fact, all principles are intangible, but the world at large has not yet come to consider the principle of mental practice in the same light that it considers other given principles of life and action. That's less so today. Just the other morning, I had some morning show as I was sitting here working, and there was a life coach that came on, and she was talking about our mind creates our reality. I was listening to Common, the great rapper and actor, on a show the other day as he's promoting the new piece of his craft. And he was talking about how important it is to know that your mind is where it all begins and ends. That was not always the case in the overarching aspect of the Western world. It's become more and more and more so today. But what all that means for us, not that those principles changed, it's just there seems to be a greater awareness of it in the broader sense of the world, while at the same time, it really all comes back to the individual. It comes back to how you and I use our mind. In the book, it goes on to say, Dr. Holmes goes on in this chapter to speak of the newly awakened student of the science of mind who finds this teaching and believes they found the truth, runs through life or a party like a house on fire, spouting these principles and telling people who are suffering from human conditions that conditions are false. We've all known this person, potentially been this person, and I think there's good and bad to that. And today there's a part of us that I would love for us to be those individuals running through life as if we were a house on fire, spouting our principles, practicing our principles, letting our life be an expression of that which we believe, and not saying that human conditions are false, but understanding that we can have compassion and sympathy and empathy for those that life's conditions seem to be less than optimum. But we do that by not spouting what's false, but by practicing what is real and supporting and helping with compassion others to find that as well. Holmes says in the book, to effectively use the principles of teaching of the science of mind, one must realize that everyone is on their own journey of, as we say, finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Today, I invite us to all have gratitude, express compassion, kindness, and caring for where we're at in this very moment. This very moment of enlightenment. For where we are in this very moment is the perfect and right place. And of course, we're all seeking a greater sense of enlightenment, and we shall all have that and honor where we've been on the journey with it and be open to what is to come. But in checking in, we've all heard this before about how enlightened we are. It's important to know that there are others who have found great enlightenment. There's an example of that that says, how enlightened are you if you can live without caffeine? If you can be cheerful, ignoring aches and pains, if you can resist complaining, if you can understand when your loved ones are too busy to give you any time, if you can take criticism and blame without resentment, if you can ignore a friend's limited education and never correct them, if you can resist treating a rich friend better than a poor friend, if you can face the world without lies and deceit, if you can conquer tension without medical help, if you can relax without liquor, if you can sleep without the aid of drugs, if you can honestly say that deep in your heart you have no prejudice against creed, color, religion, gender preference, or politics, and you've almost reached the nirvana, the same level of spiritual development as your dog. Now, obviously, tongue in cheek, funny, but it speaks to the journey that we're all on. I'm sure many of us fall in the category that we don't do these other things, and we're taking for granted that that's how canines actually believe. But it's important for us to remember when we're engaging in a newfound approach, because we're beginning to live from this moment and how to use the science of mind, to remember that the principles haven't changed and that we have the opportunity to use our mind in a new way while developing and building on all that has brought us to this moment. This, as referenced in the chapter. Because thought is made of the stuff that forms the universe into definite creation. The law is charged with the power that we give it, no more and no less. It responds by correspondence. It's a mirror and a perfect one. It molds our ideas and belief into visible form and casts them back multiplied. It does not know that it's doing this, but it knows how to do it. This is one of the great enigmas of the universe. The question, or the title of this chapter, is how to use it. And no matter how many years I've shared this chapter, no matter how many years you've heard it, the answer really comes down to one simple one. Consciously. That's how to use it. Consciously. Subcategorically. Purposefully. Intentionally. Decisively. Receptively. How to use it. To use it consciously and to remind ourselves every single day and to the best of our ability, each moment by moment by moment, that we're on this journey of life, this journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, and to constantly and consistently be challenging ourselves. Now, you notice I didn't say welcome challenges. I said to challenge ourselves. What does that mean? It means to constantly and consistently ask ourselves what it is that we believe. To ask ourselves, are we clear on what we're placing our attention on? And are we purposeful on what we are placing our intentions on? To get clear and to ask ourselves, are we choosing wisely? And are we revealing anew the wisdom of the divine that we're imbued with? Are we following our joy? Are we following joy? I shared last week that I made an intention for myself in the month of January that I'm going to live in joy. And that's just not an esoteric thing for me. It's that when I walk outside my door, when I'm engaged in conference calls, when I'm working with clients, when I'm at the grocery store, when I normally would scream obscenities from behind the wheel of my car, to really, 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 really be conscious about living in joy. Not only because of what it does to the dynamics of my physiology, my being, like it does with you, but knowing that energy radiates from us and magnetizes and attracts back to us that which we are, the principle of life, right? So then to live from faith, to live in bliss, and to live in a state of forgiveness. And to do that as repetitively but consciously as possible, to do that as intentionally as possible, and to do that with forgiveness when it doesn't happen. How do we do this? By revealing in you. How do we live in this oneness? How do we live through the interconnectedness of life being ever present in our mind? How do we do it? Well, we do it by looking at nature as an example, and we do it. I like to practice living with the serenity prayer. I love this prayer in the sense that it's a very practical approach to, and simplistic approach to help us realigning ourselves to what we believe, what we desire, what we're paying attention to, and what we have intended to have in life. And this prayer, as a reminder, is God, the source, the thing itself, the infinite ever-presence of life. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Let's look at this. God, the power, grant me the serenity. It doesn't mean that there's some power outside of us that's leaning down with a lightning bolt that's going to tap you and go, ba-ding. It means I, the individual, as the infinite thing itself, am willing to open up and allow the peace and the presence and the joy that is within me and the intelligence to accept the things I cannot change. We know what those are, right? And the courage to change the things I can. Courage means meaning, which is a Latin word. Well, it comes from a Latin word, courage, which means to live from the heart. The heart being the symbol for love. Love, defined as the self-givingness of spirit whose desires to create more of itself out of itself, the way it does that through you and me. So to live from this place within us of spirit guiding us to change the things that we can, beginning with our sense of awareness and how we're willing to receive the divinity that's within us so that it reveals itself. And then to use our minds in a way to shift our perspective. Of Course in Miracles calls that a miracle. That's the wisdom to know the difference and then to act in accordance. I often think of my first spiritual teacher in the sense of the science of mind, Dr. Kennedy Schultz, and using this context of paying attention to how we should develop our mind. He used to say there should only be one commandment: mind your own business. Now, you've heard me say that before, and pairing that with the serenity prayer of God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference, then to mind my own business. What it's all telling us is it all is an internal job. It's really all about the me. Not from an ego perspective, from the essence perspective. It's about moving into spiritual practice with focus. Focus not myopically, but focus in a way that brings forth seeing the light. The light as a sense of illumination. Holmes says that illumination will come to the, and I'm going to give this gender appropriateness as I say it, unlike a direct quote. Illumination will come as to the human more and more as they realize their unity with the whole, and as they constantly endeavor to let the truth operate through them. Now that's a huge aha moment for each of us and how to use it if we're willing to open up to that. To constantly endeavor to let the truth operate through them. It's not saying put it in. It's not necessarily even saying direct it. It's not saying try to create it. It's saying let it operate through us. That, in alignment with our intentions and attentions and using the wisdom within us, is how we can live in joy. Using that as an example, not just because I've chosen it, but as an example, or peace or beauty or whatever of the qualities that we want to live in life. It's living a life that is reflecting the wholeness of life that's already within us. That's how we use it. He goes on to tell us in the chapter how to use it. The path of following your joy or beauty or light, life, or peace, or your divinity, and experiencing your abundance, meaning the wealth of this which exists within us, if we were to let it out, right, is guided by the spiritual law of least effort. Take that in. So often we actually think it's a job to do this, that it takes great effort, but no. 1926, by the way, this was published. The path of following your joy and experiencing your abundance is guided by the spiritual law of least effort. Nature's intelligence functions with effortless ease. Nature provides wonderful examples of spontaneous creation. A rose, as Jamie was singing of earlier, doesn't struggle to blossom, it simply unfolds in beauty and grace. Birds don't make heroic effort to fly, they just fly. It's the nature of the sun to shine, and it's the nature of the stars to sparkle. and it's human nature for our dreams and desires to manifest into physical form easily and effortlessly. Now, for many of us, this isn't the first time we've heard this information, and I believe we can't hear it too often. And whether we're brand new to the concepts and principles of the teachings of the science of mind, or Eastern philosophy, metaphysics, or other New Thought teachings, or have been around the block, so to speak, a few times, the spiritual truths and principles never change. Let's take that in for a moment. They never change. So what are we called to be on this day, January 28th in the year 2024, in this very moment of inviting in a spiritual awakening? I think our first choice of action would be to consciously become spiritually detached. Detached from what? All that stuff we cannot change. From anything that's causing us angst. From the attachment that we have to trying to coerce and control life. Ali ibn Abi Talib writes, detachment is not that you should own nothing, but that nothing should own you. Today, let's make a commitment to practice detachment. 7 examples of that would be to affirm the following. I recognize my feelings without letting them control me. Imagine that. And even if that were to become more apparent in our life, imagine the energy that follows that, as we were speaking a moment ago of energy. The second would be I resist interfering with others' spiritual journey. It's not just running through the house with like a house on fire and telling people their conditions are faults. It's honoring people where they're at in life. I resist interfering with others' spiritual journey. The third is I choose to act instead of react. The fourth is I free myself from impulses and cravings. That's okay. Let's just say that's in regards to chocolate chip cookies. That's a good thing. But what if we also free ourselves from the impulse and cravings to interfere with others' spiritual journey? The next is I listen in order to understand. And the next is I have humility. I have the humility to amend my mistakes. And the seventh is I lead my life as my soul chooses. Where have we heard that before? By letting the truth guide us. Let's you and I practice this affirmation of detachment as we continue our journey from this moment forward. I'm grateful for the gift of detachment. It lifts me up. Today, you and I have the opportunity before us to use it, to make amends with ourselves for what was and any energy that's holding us back. Not necessarily, well, whatever we define holding us back to mean. And to open up to using it, the thing itself, that infinite, all-encompassing, all-creative source of power that we call God, the thing itself, also known as Allah, Jesus, and the list goes on and on. And not only the thing itself, but to then understand that what it does is that it then responds to us by corresponding to this willingness, to this intention, to this desire, and to this conscious choice that we're each getting to make today to be grateful for the gift of detachment that we're engaging in as it lifts us up. And then to know that the way it works, chapter 3, is by working through you and by working through me. It's always there. Always, always, always there. The great Bible quote, Theologians 5:16, says, "Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." Now, as it speaks of Christ Jesus, let's look at that through the metaphysical interpretation of not the man as the example, not the exception, but it's through the act of rejoicing of the thing itself, of praying continuously, meaning aligning our mental and affirmative actions, our energies, to the best of our ability with the thing itself and us as individuals. And let's remember that is step 1 and step 2 of spiritual mind treatment. God is, I am. The 4th is to give thanks. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will, meaning its energy within us to reveal its perfection, Christ Jesus. And so as we close out this chapter of revealing anew, let's remember that the act of revealing is the act of healing. And that healing is a revealing of the wholeness that exists within us now. Now. We don't have to bring anything in. We don't have to necessarily get rid of anything. But it's about letting go and allowing the truth to reveal itself through us. Idiomo, Yume Binyo, in the book Be Gentle with Yourself, reminds us of this. Healing, that act of revealing, anew, comes in waves, and maybe today the wave hits the rocks, and that's okay. That's okay, darling. You're still healing. You are still healing. And so as we release and let go the month of January, where we're revealing anew, we open ourselves up. Open ourselves up and declare for ourselves a new stage of consciousness. We welcome in love, the self-givingness of spirit in a new way, as it has the desire to manifest more of itself through you and me, and then demonstrate that. And we move in and welcome the month of February, which begins next Sunday. And we kick off our new theme, to soar with love. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you, and you sharing that with me. And through this soaring of love, we honor, acknowledge, experience, and express the wholeness and the oneness of the thing itself. Thank you and amen. Jamie's going to come back and sing a fabulously beautiful song.
Right here, right now, each moment I found lights me up, lets me breathe, loves me right where I dream. The newness of now allows me to be right where I am, here to reveal me. Give up giving, let love begin. Open hearts here with joy, share the gift I employ. The newness of now, want me to be just as I am, here to reveal me. In the newness, reveal me. In the newness, reveal me. In the newness, reveal me. In the newness,
and you are revealed anew. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
So good to be here. Thank you so much,
And
Robert.
trusting if you desire to go see your friend, you're going to get to go do that today. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
fantastic. It's so beautiful out. So beautiful out. So if you're here in the LA area, make sure to get out and enjoy this beautiful day, or in the Southwest, I believe it's there. I want to thank, as I just said, Jamie for being here. He's going to take us out with one last song at the very end for meditation. And a big thank you to Travis Smith, our audio technician, and to Robert Hensley, our virtual support system and administrative assistant. And a big thank you to each one of you for being here today. A reminder that we'll be back in person February 12th at our home at 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, and back online next Sunday as well. A reminder that each Wednesday morning we have a midweek morning meditation. It takes place at 8:30 a.m. It's through Zoom, and you can access the information for that through our weekly e-newsletter or announcements that go out through our Constant Contact program, as well as a New Thought text for the day goes out each morning at 7:30 a.m., all of which are just reminders to remember who we are and to practice the sense of detachment in life. Also, what else am I here to remind us of? I think that's it, other than we'd like to February 11th, not the 12th, that we're in person. Also remind you that we appreciate you supporting us financially. You can go to our website and support us financially. The website is CSL-LA.org, or you can go to our app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Both are great and easy ways to support us financially, as well as you can mail in a check. Our address is on our website, but it's also 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California, 90038. Just want to affirm for everyone that we have spiritual practitioners if one ever needs support and guidance there. Also, I invite all of us throughout the week to affirm perfect health for each and every one of our members and peace for all of the land. And yeah, I think that's it for right now. So Jamie's going to come back and take us out with a song. And then I will do a short prayer and we will say hallelujah. If you're on YouTube, we'll bid you adieu after that. And if you're on Zoom, we'll stay on for just a moment to say hello. Jamie, take us out.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Oh, sunshine, your eyes, dewdrops, dragonfly. I'm so grateful I'm alive. I'm so grateful I'm alive. I'm so grateful I'm alive. Oh, I'm so grateful I'm alive. I'm so grateful I'm alive. I'm so grateful I'm alive. Come on, y'all, gotta sing next time. Your voice, waterfall, thrush song, coyote call. Oh yeah, I'm so grateful I'm alive. I'm so grateful I'm alive. I'm so grateful I'm alive. Come on, y'all. I'm so grateful I'm alive. I'm so grateful I'm alive. I'm so grateful I'm alive. One more time. I'm so grateful I'm alive. 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 So grateful. I'm grateful. Gotta get grateful. Thank you, CSL-LA. Peace and blessings, y'all.
I think that's the prayer. I'm grateful I'm alive, and so it is.
So it
Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic Sunday.